Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And we were on week 2 of our holiday extravaganza finales, so to speak, to finish off our season.
Yes.
Civil Gore.
And packed with interviews. I mean, we've been really fortunate. We've had interviews like every week for a while.
Yeah. And there's actually other ones that are like trying to get scheduled as we speak that I don't even know if we'll be able to get in this year.
It's crazy. So yeah,
it's been a big good interview section. It's funny how it like the summer like kind of is like not a lot of interviews going on in the summertime, but towards the end of the summer, early fall, all the way to the end of the year, it seems like that's when our interviews like really come in full force.
Yeah, and it's funny because at some points I go, man, are like, what's happened? Like, why are we not getting interviews? I start questioning the podcast and wondering what's going on, and then all of a sudden it's like we have so many interviews we can't even schedule them all, literally. And it's kind of funny how they just go in waves like that, but it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, well, some of them I seek out to get us, and some we actually get offered by that amazing production company, Sapcar PR, that sends us a bunch, including this one that we have tonight, which with Zac Locke, who's been on before when we did our Float episode, which we both loved, and so he was gracious enough to come back on and talk about his new one, Santa Isn't Real, which is a perfect movie for our season here.
Yeah, and that was a really great interview because having Zac on before, it's always there's always some trepidation whenever you do an interview because and it's not on the guest part, but it's on my part. Like there's always a little nervousness about interviewing a first time guest because you're meeting this person literally like 2 minutes before you start grilling them with questions. You don't really know how they're going to respond. They don't really know you. There's a little inherent awkwardness in the whole thing. And so whenever you get a repeat guest, there's always like this kind of this weight lifted where there's a comfort level that's already there. And so it was really nice to talk to Zac again, having already had him on the show before. There was a sense of ease in talking about this movie, especially one that we really liked. And, having that what do you call it? Repartee.
Yeah, repartee,
rapport, sherbet. I don't know.
Whichever one you want to say.
But yeah, it's kind of nice to have that built in. So that's a great interview that's coming up soon, and I think you guys are really going to like that one. But first, we have to get to our first chop. All right, Brian, I didn't have much for this first chop because we're recording these kind of in very close proximity, more than we normally do, so I didn't have a lot of time to watch anything new. But I did want to give you like a little, Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks has their Rose and Thorns. Good things.
Which I like. That's a really good
I like that. And I noticed another podcast. There's a board game podcast. It's funny. There's a board game podcast I listen to called The Dice Tower, and they started doing Rose and Thorns, but they also do Rose, Thorns, and hula hoops. And
okay, I was gonna say because they can't steal our friends. Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks gimmick there.
No, they do Rose.
Can't allow that.
They do Rose, Thorns, and hula hoops, and roses are good, thorns are bad, and hula hoops are just weird. So I like that one. But yeah, so I don't have any thorns this week, but I had a rose, and that was Joshua did his 6th grade holiday concert. He is actually playing cello. Which like really blew me away. He decided.
Does he have time for that with all his business meetings?
I don't know. Of course, he picked some highbrow instrument like a cello. But He
got a rep to protect.
At the start of the year when he started middle school, we were really nervous about him starting middle school because that's a transition. That's a big transition. We didn't know how he was going to handle it. Anna took to it like a fish in water. I mean, she just jumped right into middle school and loved it. Well, Joshua, I was so proud of him. He not only, when he went to middle school orientation, he not only was not nervous about starting middle school, he actually jumped in and signed up for cross country and orchestra.
Wow.
I mean, he had never done any real extracurricular activities before, and he just jumped wholeheartedly into these. And I thought that was fantastic. He did wonderful at cross country. And then he's done so well in orchestra. Now, in orchestra, they do all their practicing with these, because they got big instruments. They got cellos and violins and stuff. So I never got to hear him play at home. So this was my first opportunity to see him play. And so it was all sixth graders, and they get up there, and, the caveat that the principal said, she said, now listen, everybody starts somewhere. And I want you to keep in mind when you hear this, that these kids didn't even know how to pick up these instruments 3 months ago. Like, they didn't even know how to hold them correctly. And now they're up here playing Jingle Bells and Joy to the World and stuff. And so I thought it was wonderful. I mean, again, was it the New York Philharmonic Symphony? No, it was definitely sixth grade level. But to think that these kids had never, like, the music teacher actually got there.
Well,
he
everyone
said,
starts somewhere. The Philharmonic probably started this way.
Yeah, the music teacher got there. He said, I want you to understand something. He said, these kids didn't even know how to open the case without the instrument falling out 9 weeks ago. So you can imagine where we started and where we're at now. And I just thought it was so wonderful
awesome.
to see these kids working so hard and getting up there and playing and practicing. And yeah, it was a delight. It's just a really feel good moment to see these kids up there. And some of them may never go past the sixth grade level, and some of them might end up being, who knows, might one day be in the New York Symphony Orchestra. Who knows? So I just thought it was wonderful to see these kids learning a talent and practicing and displaying it on stage. It takes a lot of nerve to get up there and play in front of people. I mean, it's something I never did, and it's something I wish I could have done when I was younger. So I'm really proud that the kids are like really embracing music. And in fact, we're thinking of, we have a sunroom in the back of our house that currently is like the pet room. We've got our cockatiel and our guinea pigs back there, but we're considering turning that into a music room because the kids are so into music. So we're thinking of putting Anna's drum set back there, putting Joshua's piano back there. I was going to hang my guitars back there. My ukuleles and stuff, and I thought that'd be really cool to just turn that into.
You see, you're becoming like a sherbet family for sure.
I know, yeah.
Fanciness there.
Yeah, so I thought we're going to turn that kind of at least one half of it into like a music room. I thought it'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just a wonderful story, but like, I'm not surprised in any way because anyone that gets to meet Tim's kids knows how like awesome they are. They're both like just super intelligent, super well-rounded kids. And I mean, obviously giving you and Olivia like mountains of credit for raising them so well. So, I'm not even like joking one bit. They are just like so well behaved. Like we've spent like extended time, like vacations with them, and I've been with, other kids where they're like constantly, I need this, I want this, I want this, I need this. Nothing like that. They're like just small adults on those trips. So it's like, we have the best time when they come. And it was funny the first time, remember, it was that Universal trip with the hurricane where you were so worried that like what we were gonna do, and I'm like, just bring them along. It's fine. We don't care, Yeah. And it's like, and they had the best time, and they wanted to go again right after that. So
it was funny. Yeah, right? I was like terrified. Like, oh my god, I'm bringing these kids on this adult trip. This is gonna be like this whole nightmare. And they just like fit right in. They were like,
oh my god, it was even better the second time because they were so excited to go, and they wanted to redo. Like they wanted to stay at that hotel, that thing. It was great. Awesome.
They are really good kids, and I think a friend of mine. He said something to me one time, and I've always kind of kept it in the back of my mind because he had kids about the same age, and he said, you talk about parenting and stuff, and he said, you know what, kids are just little people. They're just little people. He said they're not some alien creature. They're just people, and you just have to treat them like people. And I've always kind of kept that in the back of my mind. I think we've always kind of raised the kids like not like as adults. I mean, not like. Not trying to treat them as being more mature than they are beyond their years, but at the same time, not trying to baby them either. Just talk to them on a normal person to person level, and I think that's kind of helped them be a little more independent and a little more, like you said, kind of well rounded. Because we try not to baby them, and at the same time, we also kind of protect them from what they need to be protected from at that age.
I mean that's really all you can do. I know I'm not a parent myself, but I've had lots of, I have nieces and nephews and, and I try and, kind of keep that in mind when and it's their, like you're good. And I'm sure as a parent, I hear this. You're going to make mistakes.
Yep.
You're going to,
a lot.
But like, you know what? It's fine if you make the mistake. You learn from it just like the kids learn from stuff. So
Yeah. So, anyway.
And that is our Civil War parenting lesson.
Yes.
We get to everything on this podcast eventually at some point. I really think so. But yeah, no, it's great. And what I love too is like the fact that like I saw kind of like the over the, especially just on the theme park level and other things. Like I saw them do like Anna conquer her fear of roller coasters, and and Joshua conquer his fear of the haunts and stuff. It's cool. It's like,
I'll tell you something about Anna's personality, which I'm so proud of, is that, and this is not in any way something I did or take any credit for, because I was not like this at all. It was just some happen chance of genetics. But that girl will finish or do or learn anything that she puts her mind to. And I saw her even when she was like 5 years old. We went to a zoo and there was a rock wall, climbing wall. And if you got to the top and rang this bell, you'd win a prize or something. And I mean, she's little, she's tiny, she's like 5 years old. And she goes up that thing and she said, "Daddy, I want to try it." So I paid the money. She gets about 3 feet off the ground and gets scared and comes back down. I was like, okay, well, that's the end of that. She goes, "No, I'm trying it again." This time she gets 4 feet off the ground. Then she comes back down. She's scared. Next time she gets 5 feet off the ground. And I swear that child went up that thing 10 times until she finally got to the top and rang that bell. And that's awesome. when I knew this kid will not stop for anything when she sets her mind to something. And so it doesn't surprise me when she like conquered her fear of roller coasters and all that kind of stuff. I mean, she can't stand not conquering something that she wants to conquer.
Yeah, like I remember she was mad. Remember at the first Universal trip that she like didn't get a chance to go back and like conquer the fear right then and there on some stuff.
Oh yeah, it bothers her.
But like next year it was like night and day. She was like, "I'm going through this haunt, I'm going through that haunt. I don't care. I'm going through this ride. I'm going that ride." It was great.
It's crazy, but yeah. So I don't worry about her ever like cheating whatever she wants to in life, because I know it bothers her to no end if she.
Oh
doesn't.
Yeah, she will get there. Whatever she wants to do, she will eventually get there. It may take her a couple tries, but she's not giving up.
Yeah.
She won't give up.
No,
it won't be
never.
because of that.
Never.
But yeah. So for my first chop, I have a couple things here. One was that we finished our watch party double feature with Jeff Whitmire.
Yes,
Tim was preparing for his party, so I took the lead on this one.
Yeah, I was so bummed I couldn't make this, but I was like, there was no way. I had to we were prepping for the party, so there was no way.
You had way too much like things to do like the night before, so it's totally understandable. And I kind of like sprung it on you anyway. I'm like, by the way, I just signed a contract with Jeff Whitmire to do but yeah, like I think I was okay to handle it, because we have, of course, it was co-hosting with the watch party extraordinaire Jeff Whitmire.
He's so good at like hosting those things.
So good. He's like he was born to do it. It's a shame we can't get like everyone over off of Twitter to do it on another format, but it is what it is. But yeah, he's so good at it. He like prepared facts. We had themed drinks. We had 4 different themed drinks for the 2 movies, which was Anna and the Apocalypse and Adult Swim U-Log, aka The Fireplace, 2 of our favorite holiday films. He had a whole bunch of facts. We had like some food recipes. We did that little Debbie dip that like you had at your, which by the way is deadly. I recommend it and I don't recommend it at the same time. That Christmas tree dip.
It's like diabetes in a bowl. It's just It's just so good.
And it's funny because like Julie's mom likes her sweets, but she's got such restraint when it comes to this. But it was funny, and I went out and I grabbed some and I put it back in the fridge, and I came back out later and it was out again, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I left it out! Shoot!" And like Julie's sister was there, she goes, "No, like my mom took some out again and tried it, some more of it." So it's good. And just so you know, it's a very simple recipe. It's literally like 5 of those little Debbie Christmas tree snack cakes, which is basically 1 box, 8 ounces of cream cheese, a tub of Cool Whip.
It's like nothing but sugar. It's like
it's all sugared and like vanilla frosted things. Sprinkles on the top, and I think a little vanilla, right? If I'm not mistaken, vanilla maybe in there, and you stir it all up. And that's it. And then you can like put the sprinkles on the top, and it's basically Nilla wafers. I feel are a good cookie for that because they're not overly sweet, and they're kind of like they have just a hint of vanilla to begin with, so it goes good with this. But like, I feel like if you mix it right, like it's super sweet, but you still get that little bit of cream cheese to like dial down the sweetness just enough that it's like bearable. But I'll tell you what an easy, quick dessert to whip up for a party.
Yeah,
that I highly recommend.
It was a big hit. Like ours was wiped out when we.
If I'm gonna remake it again for when my sister-in-law and her family come here, because by that point, it'll be about a week old. The old one, I'd rather just dump it and get a fresh one in there. I have enough stuff. I just need to go get some more. I have one more box of that Christmas tree, those cakes, but I think I want to get an extra box so I can do it like in the picture where I put one whole one on the top to decorate it. I didn't do that because I didn't want to waste.
Do you know they make two separate sizes of those things?
No.
Yeah.
Another size?
Yeah, because I saw Olivia bought. She bought one. The normal pack that I'm used to, and it's like a little Christmas tree. And then she wound up finding like the double pack. And I was like, what is this? Like it was like a double pack of them. And I opened one and it was bigger. It's like a wider Christmas tree.
Oh,
it's
God.
It's bigger Christmas tree.
So you can't use that for the dip, I don't think. Because that'll probably throw off the ratio.
But somewhere. I was like, oh my God, these are giant ones.
Yeah. And I think this one too, I saw somewhere, someone said like you could actually like make this cookie dip with other things too, like all like Little Debbie cream cake things. So I could see like a Halloween version of it.
Oh
maybe with their
gosh,
thing.
Yeah.
And then like people said, like some people made like if they're not like crazy on vanilla, people made it with the chocolate Christmas tree cakes that they make, which are a little harder to find, I think, but you can still find them. So there's that. Yeah, so that was good. We had a lot of great participation in there. And it was you had a lot of like, some people regulars that I remember, some new people in there, and it was so fun like to like just watch people react to these films. Like some people had never seen the U-Log, and that was funny. Most people had seen Adam the Apocalypse at that point that came in there. I think most people had seen it, but U-Log, a lot of people still didn't. Like I remember one quote was someone said, I gotta watch this with you guys because I don't see how they're gonna make a U-Log into a horror film. And there is actually another U-Log horror film that's like straight up like U-Log horror film, and I won't spoil this one until you watch it, but it's on Max so you can see it. But yeah, that one we had fun with because that was kind of fun just watching people's reactions to like what the heck is going on in this movie. Because if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, watch it and you'll see what I mean. So yeah, that was another successful thing. And Jeff Whitmire was like peppering through with cool like trivia and facts and everything. And it made it really like just a fun night. Good way to little holiday treat. I have a feeling it'll be like somewhat of a tradition. And we'll team up with him on some other things too once it comes out. So this time you'll be there for it, Tim. One of the other things I want to do is this is nothing to do with horror, except that as one of our friends of the podcast, Allison Gorski, which we're trying to get her on. I know she's super busy with this success of Obliterated, which is a new miniseries on Netflix. She's also in The Puppet Man. She was on Wilford Lane, which we had her on for. That was when we met her. So she's also in Amy's Effort List, which was one of my favorite like little comedies I saw last year. She's awesome in this. It's just a really great show. It's basically about this group of like special ops team that has to that's in Las Vegas undercover to stop a nuclear warhead, and this all happens the first like literally 15 minutes, so it's not a really big spoiler, and I think you can kind of tell from any trailer on it. So they stop it, but then they find out really quickly that it's a fake. But the problem is they're already in party mode, celebrating, and they're all drunk and on drugs and all this stuff, and then they realize now they have to go actually really solve where this nuke is, like completely like, and it's all in like the first like night, so they're all hungover and drunk and all kind of crazy. There's like all crazy characters in it. It's so fun. It like I binged it over the weekend. I couldn't just stop. It's one of these things I couldn't stop watching it. I like forced myself to stop so I could do other things. It was that good. So I watched it over like 2 days. So definitely check that out on Netflix. It's Obliterated. It's got some other horror people in it. Like it's got Paulo Loazo from Walking Dead, who we saw at New Jersey Horror Con. It's got some people from the Final Destination films, various films in there. It's really good, so check that out.
Cool.
There's also, we got to watch on the weekend for the Yorkie-thon that Adam Green puts on. He puts on this 2-day event to save the Yorkies. And Emily, our good friend Emily Sweet, of course, she was part of one of those like script readings. They did an unproduced Freddy vs. Jason script, which was definitely an interesting take. I think I prefer the movie that came out, although, and I think I've read the treatment version of this or a partial script of this before, because I remember the whole thing with the Fred heads in it. And they had a really good thing, like Tiffany Shepis was in there, Christina Cleaves, so some people we knew were already in there. And of course, Emily, there wasn't enough Emily for our taste. We wanted more Emily.
Yeah, we did.
But like the parts that she played were awesome, because I don't think she does anything less than awesome. So she was, so that was kind of fun to watch. Good little fun thing. So all of us were in there. We didn't really comment in the chat because there were chats going on. I didn't understand what people were talking about, frankly. So I just kind of watched and enjoyed it. But we were all in there, all of us. I think actually Cone was stuck at an event. So he was kind of following from us. But Ken and you and I watched it along to support Emily. Next, final thing I want to do is just quickly. It's so funny because I haven't played 1 minute of this game yet. But I had bought the packet, the starter box at Barnes & Noble. I think I got a little sale on it, and it had the first thing. And Tim has been raving about the game Final Girl. So, and I think it was Cone, as usual, right? It had to have been Cone that found this. And sorry for the dogs going crazy in the background. I think we have right now 6 dogs in the house.
Oh, gosh.
My brother-in-law is coming to pick up his 2. So there's a lot. I hear Obi mostly because Obi likes to bark. He likes to talk. Anyway, so I think they're taking 2 of the dogs away right now, so that gets a whole bunch of uproar. Anyway, but Macy's had Macy's of all people, which I didn't. Which is
weird. Yeah, they sold a lot. They had a lot of good board game sales this year.
Yeah, weird. And it was like, it's weird. It shipped from like something games from Macy's. Like it was like this own little subcategory. But what it is, they had this sale where all the modules that they had were like, I think they're normally like $19.99. They were on sale for like $16 or something, or $14. And then after all that, you can get an extra 10% off your order using this code, which usually they don't combine. You're not really, most companies won't combine like a code and a sale already, but they did. So I think I got like 4 modules, the miniatures, and that extra board, like that map, or whatever. What do you call it? The play
game
mat, or whatever?
Yeah, the play mat.
Game map. And I think I got it all for like, I think it said my total savings was like $165 or something like that.
Yeah, no, you got a good deal.
$109 for like 4 modules and like the miniatures and that map, or maybe 5 modules even. I don't remember now, but at least 4 modules. So like, but I ended up saving $165 or whatever they had the sale for. So I have all that, and like, it's funny. Then I realized I thought I had the whole season 1, but there's still like other ones. Cone's like, could you please play the game before you stop buying them? But I can't help it. I need to have a completionist thing. Like I got everything else on my Amazon like wish list now, like every other thing they make, like other miniatures, and like that they have, I guess, a vignette you can add on.
Yeah, they have little. So they have for those that don't know about Final Girl, they sold the core game box that has all the like dice and the rules and everything, but you have to have a module to play, and each module is a different horror movie. Basically, they're loosely, or in some cases not so loosely, based on popular horror movies. So in season 1, there's one that's loosely based on Jason. There's one loosely based on Freddy Krueger. There's one that's based on Poltergeist. There's one based on in wave 2. There's one that's kind of based on The Thing. And there are some originals too. Like season 1 has one that's like a Puppet Master Carnival type guy, which doesn't really correlate to any movie that I know of. And there's another one that's like more of like a jungle, like tribal type villain. But the whole premise behind these games is, and they're all solo only games. But the premise is you have a killer that's on a map, and there's victims that are basically cannon fodder. And the more victims that the killer kills, the stronger he gets. So you're really trying to save victims, rescue them before the killer can kill them and get stronger. And
and you play as one person, though, right?
Yeah, you're one person. You are the final
girl, I guess, right? Yeah.
And your ultimate goal is to, first and foremost, save as many victims as possible. And then secondly, which also makes you stronger as you rescue victims. And then secondly, you need to ultimately kill the villain. And it's a lot of fun. It's card management and dice management. So there's cards that you can play, but you have to roll the dice to see if the card you played actually succeeds. It can be it's a challenge.
It's easy to pick up though, right? Like
yeah, it's
like
easy
I won't
to pick.
have trouble.
No,
learning, right?
you won't have trouble. And if you need anything, I could walk you through it. Like we could get online and I could give you a tutorial. So
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I mean, like now it's to the point of where my I have an entire like half of one of those storage tubs filled with Final Girl modules that I haven't. None of it have been opened.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I've started. Amazon just started selling the season 2. Those were on Kickstarter. They're finally coming out to retail. So I've bought one already, which was based off The Strangers. It's a home invasion scenario. What's neat about the modules is they play very differently. There's very different mechanics.
And can't you mix and match too? I heard like you can mix and match the villains with like the different stories or something.
You can. There's a book that came with one of mine. I bought the big box that holds all of them, and it has a book and it has suggestions for like mixing and matching villains, and it even has there's one cool thing about it. Like normally you just play the villain with randomized decks of items and stuff, but there's a book that actually will give you certain scenarios. Like it might be slaughter at camp so-and-so, slaughter at Camp Blood. And it'll say, okay, put these items in the deck in this order. And this is how the villain... So like it creates and it tells you which event is going to... because there's event cards that like affect the outcome of the game. Like you might pull an event that says you can't rescue more than one survivor at a time or something, or one victim at a time. Like it puts conditions around it so that it's not like a standard game. Like it makes it either harder or easier. And so these scenarios might say you have to use this event and you have to use these items and you have to try to win under these conditions. It almost makes it like a real movie where this is exactly what you had available. You had an axe, you had a machete, but you don't have any of this other stuff kind of thing. So it's really cool. It's such a modular, like you said, like a mix and match game. Like the possibility, the replayability is endless on this thing. But I've got one of the 5 season 2 modules. I've got all of season 1. So I need 4. I need the remaining 4 of season 2, and then I'll.
Yeah. So how many are in season 1? There's like 9 or 10 or something plus.
No,
vignette?
there's 5. All the seasons have 5 main modules. There are vignettes. The vignettes are like miniature scenarios. I know season 1 had 1 vignette. I think season 2 has 1. So, and they're available. They're out at retail now. So.
Oh yeah, no, and there's a game store me, and plus Amazon has them at a good price.
So
I pretty much cleaned out Macy's for everything that they have. So
yeah, Macy's wasn't selling the season 2, or I would have been all over it. And now season 3 is on Kickstarter, so those will be coming out at retail sometime next year. So then I'll be picking all those up as well.
Yeah, there's also a lore book I want to get.
The lore book you do want to get. That's the one that has the different scenarios that I was talking about.
Okay, yeah, I need to get that. I put that on my wish list. I'm like, all right, I'll just put these in there, and then whatever I get after I'm done with the holidays, I'll just like stock up and buy these.
Yeah, that's fun.
But yeah, because it's a cool like. I mean, I don't know what that game mat does. It seems like I don't need it, but like you said, it's like a good thing to have or something.
Yeah, the game mat basically. So, in the game box itself unfolds into the game play area. So it's small because the boxes are small. So it unfolds and you can play on that. But the game mat just gives you a bigger play area. It's the same information. It's the same thing. It's just now you can play on a big play mat versus playing on a little folded out box. It's nicer to have.
I also see a thing. It says there's a miniature market. There's a website and it sells a thing called the Final Girl Season 1 Gruesome Deaths book set.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know what those are.
It was
something $20 for 5 books.
Yeah, it came with the I think that came with the Kickstarter. I think it's just I don't think it's necessary for gameplay. I think it's like a thing like that describes different deaths that could happen to you based on your outcome of your game or something. I can't remember. I never bought it because it was not...
I feel like I need everything though now. That's the problem.
You probably should want to play it first to make sure you like it.
I know, but the completionist in me, like I could see myself like there's like just as good a chance as me playing it and liking it as there is me just buying all of it and never playing
yes,
it.
Probably, yeah.
Which is bizarre, but I just like I'm terrible. I like just things. I
Yeah.
I like board games with a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
Whether I played them or not. Like that Frankenstein game, Cone picked us up, remember?
Yeah.
Because they had a sale. It was always $75 and I wanted it because it had 8,000 pieces to it.
Yeah.
It sounds so bizarre, right? But I had to have it. And when Cone found it for like, what was it, $15 on sale at the
That was
time,
a pretty good game.
It.
I played it solo for a little bit.
Oh,
it
is?
was actually, it was pretty fun.
Well, I know. I forget that I could pretty much even play some multiplayer games solo.
Yeah.
You know, like Horrified, you can always do. Like Jaws, you can't. But
Jaws,
like,
you can't.
The Shining,
Yeah.
you can't. But
yeah, a lot of.
I still need to get the Halloween game, and I need that other Texas Chainsaw game, that the Funko one.
Yeah.
I need to still get that, and my miniatures still have not shipped yet from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I guess they're on a pre-order, and they're shipping January. I found out.
Oh, yeah, those were cool.
But yeah, but I have it on order already. I already ordered it. But so I need to still try that Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. I need to try the and I want to get the Funko one because that one kind of looks cool too. And I need to buy the Halloween game from Trick or Treat Studios also. But I figured I'll wait until after the holidays for that, just in case in case I get some holiday money or gift cards or something, whatever.
Oh yeah. So anyway, yeah, guys, check that one out if you haven't played Final.
Yeah,
Girl.
sorry, we ended up with a big first drop there. But didn't intend, but
yeah, so
that's the way this show goes.
So I guess we'll do the interview first. With
it's always good. I think when we have the movie, I like the interview kind of first.
Yeah. So
that way you can hear about like certain things, and then we can discuss the movie afterwards and kind of refer back to the interview and things.
Yeah, so like we had up front, we interviewed Zac Locke, who was on for his Float episode, and if there's any luck to be had, he'll be on next year for his next movie. So.
Yes, which you'll hear about in the interview. And he's such a cool dude. I'll always talk to him. He's like an awesome guy.
Yeah. So I think you guys are going to really like this interview. And I guess we'll take it away and we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards. So here it is, our interview with Zac Locke. So in continuation of our holiday season, we recently checked out the new Christmas horror film from friend of the podcast, Zac Locke, called Santa Isn't Real. And as a holiday treat, he stopped by to chat all about it. So welcome to the show, Zac.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Good to be back. Exactly 1 year later.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's
is
crazy.
Wow,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I guess we're gonna have to make this a tradition now. Like as long as our holiday tradition, even if you don't have a holiday film, you'll just come on every once a year.
Absolutely, I'll have a film. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. So if you guys remember, Zac was on for our Float episode a while back, and we really enjoyed that interview. So Zac, for those that maybe didn't hear that interview, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of some of the films you've done?
Sure, yeah. I have recently started transitioning into writing and directing. So Float was my first feature film as writer-director. Before that, I had a long history as a producer. So I was an executive producer on Black Christmas 2019 version, and also on films like The Wind and Bloodline and various other horror features, mostly horror, although a little of everything. And then this year I directed Santa Isn't Real, which we're going to talk about, and kind of still doing the producing thing, but have transitioned much more into the writing and directing.
I forgot you did The Wind. We really like that one. I remember.
Yeah, it's a nice slow burn.
Yeah. Oh, we're all about the slow burn here. We love we love those movies that, like, I don't care how long it takes to get you there. If you get the good payoff at the end and you bring it in, it's like,
yeah,
I'm all for it. But let's get right into Santa Isn't Real. So where did the idea of this one come from? And if you had any particular inspiration?
Yeah, so my producing partner, who also did Float with me, had this idea to do a Killer Santa movie. He's a huge horror head and was sending me all these different, Santa sleigh and all these different kind of like horror Santas throughout time. And there's been a bunch of them. In my mind, there had already been too many, so I just kind of like filed that thought away in my head, and that was just there. Then I started thinking a lot about belief and truth, and it was just kind of like always in the news and always in just like kind of the forefront of the kind of national conversation. And then so as far as like people's truths and what people think is real and the length people will go to defend what they believe, and then the Santa thing just kind of like connected those synapses, connected there. And it seemed like a really good way to kind of explore this kind of very fraught, sometimes politicized, but very fraught, just kind of concept, but in a really fun way with something that's like an innocent child's belief, like Santa. So like those two things kind of meshed, and then as soon as that, those collided in my brain, I was like, oh, I got to make this movie. And so the writing went pretty quickly from there. And then just a fun way to explore those issues. The same thing happened with me with Float. Is the same producing partner was like, hey, we need to make a movie on the river, like I have access to a river. I mean, basically how these things start. And I didn't really like think anything of it until I had a way into that one too. So really for me, it's all about you need to have a way into it. And then of course I don't want to write a boring like treatise on belief and truth. I want to make a fun, entertaining movie. So doing a holiday horror, specifically a Christmas Santa slasher, seemed to be like the best of both worlds for me for that.
Yeah, and I will say it's interesting how you've got both of those films that we both liked. We liked both of these, and both way that you came up with them is very interesting to me. And it's kind of funny because without giving a spoiler away, obviously for this, we're going to try and keep as little spoiler spoiler reveal as
lots of twists,
possible.
lots of twists and turns.
Yeah, there's lots of twists, so I don't want to definitely give anything away. But what I was going to say is what I liked about it is that you did take like a killer Santa Claus idea, but like you definitely did your own spin on it that I don't think I've seen it done this quite this way, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely safe to say there's never been Santa like this in cinema history, I believe. I mean, I can't prove that because there's been a lot of movies out there, but without giving away anything too much away either, I really liked that way into it also. That was just more an aspect of kind of who I knew I was going to use in the movie. But even before I wrote it, so that's kind of a fun twist for me also, and something I hope that becomes just another way of looking at what Santa Claus can be anybody, James Bond can be anybody, anyone can be anyone. And it's just like different, Shakespeare can be played by anyone. It's just kind of a different way to look at it as far as like, different ways of looking at myths and legends and characters and monsters. Like if we do the same thing every time, I think it could get boring. And what's always interesting to me is when people have a new take on like a tried and true kind of character, tried and true concept, but a new take on it is always the funnest thing for me.
So Zach, you kind of this leads directly into my next question, because there are so many Christmas horror movies out there, as you alluded to. Were there any particular tropes that you were specifically trying to avoid?
Oh, there was a lot of tropes I was trying to hit, so I think it was more. I think it was more.
Well, that was our next question. No, okay, it could go both ways. That question, yeah.
I do think it's more a question of how many of these can I hit in 75 minutes. So, but I think the tropes I was trying to hit were more from, like, I would say like your Hallmark and Lifetime typical like kind of like sappy Christmas movies than I was trying to hit horror tropes. So for instance, I was trying to hit the eggnog trope, and obviously in the very first scene of the movie, you have the eggnog disgustingly mixing with blood on the floor. And you have the mistletoe trope, but that's just in such an awkward and like messed up time, and the Secret Santa gifting trope, and you have the whole movie is a trope on a lot of most of these movies where the family starts out not believing in the magic of Christmas or in Santa Claus, and by the end they do believe and everything's all great. But in this one, it's like they start off not believing, in the end they might believe, but like things aren't great. So I was trying to take those tropes and kind of twist them on their head for sure. There are some little nods to Christmas horror movies out there, so like little Easter eggs, or like Christmas eggs, if you will. So there's like the breathing on the telephone is a nice little like fun just like throwback to Black Christmas, probably the original Christmas horror movie. So there are some little things like that in there.
There was even a line, I forgot it now, but there was a line that you had in the movie that I was like, oh my god, I think that's like referencing a like a little Easter egg to another movie, and I can't think of it, but but I know at the time it was good. That's interesting that you I kind of like that you did, like, instead of like avoiding tropes, you went like full at them and just twisted them the way you want. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes that's even better. That's way better than avoiding it, because it's easy to avoid something, kind of. It's like, but like when you want to like go head on and then just take it and do your thing with it, it's probably way more creative.
So I kind of have a personal pet peeve with holiday movies that are just only kind of tangentially related to holidays. That's always, you kind of get this marketing like it's going to be a Christmas movie, or it's going to be a Easter movie, or it's going to be something like that, and then it just happens to occur, during that time of the year, and there's a Christmas tree in the first scene, and so it's a Christmas movie. I mean, I think the ones, so I really wanted to lean into that because those are always the funnest for me. So I think, even the one we discussed last year, the original Black Christmas, or even the 2019, it's not so much about Christmas. It happens during Christmas break, right? So I think you have to go a little bit outside of horror, but like Home Alone is a great example. It's like couldn't exist. It happens during Christmas break, but it's so about Christmas, or Elf or something like that. It's just so much fun. You're going to be in this world, in this Christmas world. You can watch it, like you said, with your eggnog and scotch, and eggnog and brandy, and really get into the spirit. And there's just so much with Christmas to do. I mean, there's so much imagery around Christmas. There's so many traditions around Christmas. There's so much paraphernalia around Christmas. I mean, it's really quite ridiculous. Just, if you think about all the stuff that comes along with Christmas, and the colors that come along with Christmas, it just makes it and the sounds and music that come along with Christmas, and the smells and everything. It's just very, there's a lot of rich material there to mine to make a Christmas movie. So there's no shortage. That's for sure.
It is funny, like, you're right. There's so much stuff to do. Like, Tim and I have this game we started in one of our little horror groups of like where we're trying to avoid being whammed by hearing that Last Christmas song. And there supposedly is an official game both ways. Like, there's one where you have to avoid it as long as you can. And or one of our listeners, who became a good friend of ours, she found one where you have to listen to it as many times again in a period of time, which just cracks me up that like you could literally take a holiday song and like it becomes like a whole like challenge now, around the holiday season.
I mean, there's like 12 or so public domain Christmas songs that are very popular and knowledgeable. So
yeah,
I think that's the reason you're hearing a lot of them. And I definitely have a bunch of them in my movie too. Performed by friends' bands and things like that. But yeah, there's definitely a lot in there.
That's good, because it's not as obvious when you have like you have like a different performer on it.
Right.
So
Brian, I was going to slip a question in here before you go to your question, because it made me think of it. But Zach, what do you think about like this? I know this has happened since Silent Night, Deadly Night, but I think this should be like a recent resurgence in the news of thanks to the success of Thanksgiving in particular, and It's a Wonderful Knife.
Yeah.
There's a new criticism from certain angles about mixing Christmas and horror. So I wanted to just hear your take on that. Obviously, our take. We love Christmas horror. So.
Yeah.
I bring it on for me. I mean,
I love it too. And my former partners at Divide and Conquer made A Wonderful Knife with Michael Kennedy, who I also worked with on Freaky. So I'm super excited about, the more Christmas movies, the better. And that also came out earlier this year. So I'm super excited about that. And I think anytime you can, and actually the Orange County Register, I believe, listed Santa Isn't Real also amongst the movies that were kind of turning that on their head. They were a little more, they were rankled, but they were a little more kind of thoughtful about it than the Fox News of it all. But anytime that you're, ruffling feathers, and anytime you're pissing people off, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing as an artist and as a filmmaker and as a purveyor of genre. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. It's supposed to bother society, with air quotes here. And if you're not doing that, what are you really doing? I mean, all the best horror has done that, in my opinion. I mean, if you look, from like Halloween Behind You to Get Out to Infinity Pool or whatever, people are bothered. And for me, that's a mark of you're doing it right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. One of my favorite films of last year, like disturbed me like no other horror movie quite as did. That's The Innocents. I don't know if
Oh,
you
I
saw
didn't
that
see that
movie.
one. I didn't see that one.
Oh my God, it
Yeah.
because it's just. I definitely say you have to watch. I mean, it's one of those movies where you're constantly with your jaws like kind of dropping. I don't think it would ever be made if a U.S. If it was ever made in the States. I because where was it
Yeah.
from, Tim? Do you remember where's?
I don't remember off the top of
But
my head,
yeah,
but
maybe Switzerland or Sweden or something. I don't.
I think it felt like a Nordic type country, but I
Yeah,
don't remember
Mhm.
exactly.
Oh,
like
those are
I
great.
think they
Yeah.
would have like someone would unless it was done totally independently. They would like if it ever becomes like a big Hollywood remake. This thing will probably be watered down. I mean, this thing is
Yeah.
hardcore, disturbing, but again, it gives me like this respect for it because I'm like, oh my God, this bothered me. This like, but
Yeah.
that's what it should do. It needs to. If movies don't spark emotions at some level, I mean, I feel like it's something's missing. It
Yeah.
should give you something like whether it makes you laugh, maybe angry, sad, happy, whatever. They're all emotions.
Yeah, I think our job is to push boundaries, and I mean, all I'm really doing actually in Santa Isn't Real is I'm asking questions. So I don't think I'm really, I don't think I'm really like dissing a belief in Santa or dissing religion or dissing, but I am, or dissing belief or anything like that. But I am asking those questions. Like those questions deserve to be asked, and if the person watching it is asking themselves a question and comes down on the same side they're already on, and that's fine. Maybe at least we're asking the questions. Let's explore, let's examine. And I think probably the thing that I've caught the most like slack from is just the title of the movie so far.
Yeah, really.
Is it's so funny.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Probably, from people who haven't even seen the movie, but like, it's like how, like, oh, how can you say this? This is like, don't say this. This is gonna ruin my kid's perception. Well, for one, if your kid is watching this, that's on you. But
Yeah. This one is definitely not one of those like
no,
yeah,
but
definitely not a gateway horror film for kids. But
no,
yeah, it's
yeah.
funny. I like that you said that too because it is true. And a lot of those holiday slashers don't have that. You kind of get like you have the lore, they do what they want to with it, but you have like there's like that whole sequence where there's like and actually there's multiple I think sequences where you have like the discussion between characters where
Yeah.
they're discussing like other lores and
Mhm.
their belief and how it like and then they're coming up with like oh that's why like Santa brings the cookie you bring
Right.
cookies for Santa like you have all the discussion and I think that's a very unique take that a lot of the holiday horror films don't have. They
Mhm.
just kind of go with whatever the is, and they don't
Right.
stop to ask that question.
Right. It's just kind of showing like there's no, I mean, I have a Jewish guy in the film too, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's just
I
showing
was
that
thankful for
there's
that one. I like when they represent me a little bit.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's just another way of showing and all those conversations of like there's not just one way to look at things, right? There's possibilities are open. So like let's, just because we all believe something, someone in another culture might believe something else, someone in another religion might believe something else, someone who grew up, two people who grew up, there's two characters who grew up, ostensibly in the same way with the same friend groups who just had different upbringings. And believe totally different things. So it just goes to show like none of us are right, none of us are wrong. We're just all, we're all just figuring it out. Nobody can know anything for sure. And so, yeah, and hopefully that's not just in the discussions there, but in kind of like the crux of the movie of like, well, is Santa going to be real or not in the end? So yeah.
Well, and it's funny too because you said with the Jewish character, his character in there, like he has that conversation that both my parents got remarried to Catholics,
Mhm.
and the favorite thing is that they could bring Christmas into their world now. It's
Yeah.
funny, like my mom, even when we were kids, before she got remarried, she'd always take a little tree because she just liked the festivity of it, like all that stuff. And that, of course, is the commercialism aspect of it. But still, it's kind of funny that the character says that in there. He's like, "Yeah, but you don't have this. Hanukkah doesn't have this." They're like, "But you get eight
Yeah.
nights." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's at the." And
They grew up
there's
with
this
five.
running,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's a running joke that yeah, you may get eight presents, but like some people would do like very tiny little presents, and like the
Right.
last one is like one big present kind of thing. Although I have to say, when my grandmother was alive, we were kids and she did the full 8 nights of Hanukkah for us. I mean, she like she went all out. Like I still remember, I think He-Man was big that year, and literally each day was like a different like a box of all the figures. One was the vehicles, and the final one was Castle Grayskull. So you could
Nice.
see kind of where like that build up was like great, but wasn't always like that one.
But even with that, you're still on the outside looking into like the, America's big celebration of Christmas. And so like, that's, I wanted to kind of like, show all different sides of, what Santa means to, what Santa and what Santa represents means to everybody, right? So
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And speaking of that, so we mentioned some of the characters. So just like the float, you had a really good cast in it. Some of them, of course, you returned in there that I noticed right away, and
Yeah.
they're pretty great. What can you tell us about working with them? And was it pretty easy when you have like a familiar group that you're working with?
It is. So Kaya Coleman, who plays Nikki in the movie, the lead, after doing Float, and she was just so great in Float, we kept expanding her part because she was so good, and then eventually we mushed two parts together so she so she could last longer. And so I always told her after that movie, I said, hey, whatever I do next, I want you to be the lead in. And she said, cool. And then like a year later, I was like, okay, so Kaya's a young, beautiful woman. And I was like, okay, so I have the next movie for you, and you are gonna wear, I can't really do spoilers, but you're not not, it's gonna like, it's gonna be a very interesting kind of role for you. And so she was just like she was like, I'm definitely in. And so that was lucky. And then Scarlett, I just love working with her too. And like Scarlett and Kaya, who played Jess, Scarlett and Kaya have great repartee, like throughout anything they do in real life and the film and everything. And so as collaborators, I kind of like send them like a proto script, like a 40-page version of the script, and with their characters kind of sketched out in it and dialogue kind of sketched out, and just start chatting with them about dialogue and characters and motivations and everything like that. So they really are collaborators in every sense of the word on it. So that was really great. And then even the new people, so the cast is pretty small. It's only 4 main characters. So Sissy Lee, who is new, who plays MJ. I had seen her in some other stuff and thought she was great in Soft and Quiet. She, she's a stand-up comedian also. So there was a lot of improvisation that would go on.
Yeah, I could tell she had a natural comedic background. Yeah.
Yeah. So some improvisation, even in great timing, even in rehearsal and everything. So, we let a lot of that happen on set, and then we would kind of like lock something in and go with it. And then Trey Anderson, who plays what is his name in the
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Yeah, he plays Nathan.
Yes,
They
Nathan.
usually accidentally call them by their character names, not the other way around. So Trey Anderson, who plays Nathan, he's actually a writer and director he'll act in his own things, but this is the first time he's acted in somebody else's. So it was really interesting and very helpful to work with somebody who's a writer and a director as well, in that position. So, and he would we would talk about scenes the night before and kind of rework some things sometimes. And so all of the actors were true collaborators in every way.
Nice. Yeah, that's gotta maybe like much. It just probably make your life so much easier. Just
In some ways, in some ways it's easier, and in some ways, you have to be careful about all the different voices that are happening, and eventually there has to be some sort of eventually they have to all go into the funnel. That's fine, but eventually they have to come out the other end in some sort of like concentrated way. And I think that's something that is gained by, I think, just like mutual respect, between myself and the actors and all my collaborators, the crew as well, and producers and writers and everything. So I think that's just a matter of like, okay, like we're gonna all throw the ideas in the ring, and the best idea is gonna win, and then somebody, i.e. the director, i.e. me, is gonna eventually decide, and that's what's gonna like be the final product. But I do love the collaboration to get to that point for sure, and I need it.
Nice.
So, Zach, what can you tell us about the location? Because I really like the shots in the beginning of the little town, and the film had a pretty cool look about it. I mean, most of it takes place kind of in a singular location,
Yeah.
but I did really like the look of the film, and then especially towards the end, you can kind of see the isolation there. So, what can you tell us about the location?
Yeah, so we shot most of the movie shot all of the movie in Oregon, except for the little town stuff. Little town stuff we did in a little town in Maine,
Oh,
um,
cool.
with a B unit. But yeah, we shot everything else with actors in it in Oregon. So like the church and the hospital and Nikki's house were all in this little town called St. Helens, which is like an hour north of Portland in Oregon. And then we shot the rest of it on Mount Hood in Oregon. So, I wrote the script in the summertime, and I wrote it for there to be snow, and luckily there was snow. So that really also helps with the. I just needed also, like, speaking of leaning into the Christmas of it all, like in the holiday season of it all, like for me there needed to be snow. That was like non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So, luckily there was like a 50-50 chance of whether we would get snow or not, and it dumped. So, we
Yeah,
were
I
able to,
really like the overhead shots.
Oh yeah,
In
yeah.
the end, those were really cool. Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. Like, yeah, that's just like the forest up there in Oregon. We have plenty of it. So,
Yeah, that like actually really like sets the feel of it. I like that. Yeah, that was really
yeah, go
cool.
get you a drone. Drones are great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I totally want one. I like my brother-in-law has one. I'm afraid to try someone else's though. I figure like because
Oh yeah, don't do that.
I
Yeah,
can see myself just next thing I know it's like into a building and I'm like
yeah,
I'd feel a lot better if I wasted my money than someone else's. So
I
yeah,
almost got the kids drones this Christmas on. We got a pond out back. I was like, no, this is not a good combo.
yeah.
Those drones will be in the pond like within an hour. So
For
what's your
sure.
HOA rule on that one too?
yeah, I
Do
don't know.
they
Yeah,
do
we had a
they
professional drone operator doing that who also was the same person who did it for a float. So that's
Nice. Yeah, that's right. You did have that really cool shot and float also. I remember that
yeah,
overhead
down the
that great.
river.
hmm
Nice.
Yeah.
So this may be a tad bit of a spoiler, but I'm sure based off of any trailer you watch, you can kind of get a vibe. You needed to have a creepy looking Santa Claus in
Yeah.
this. So what can you tell us about the process coming up with the look of this movie? Because I mean, his first appearance, I will say, is extremely creepy with the legs,
Mhm.
and I thought that was
Yeah.
like bravo on that one because like that was a really cool thing. And I mean, it's not too much for spoil, but
No, no,
yeah.
it's from
So
trailers. Yeah.
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 So how did you like what was the process of coming up with the look you wanted for the Santa Claus in it?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Santa suit, I just wanted something totally traditional, and recognizable. And as far as the face, like, I think based on what you know, based on the plot of the movie, the face has to be concealed. So there was kind of like one or two or three different ways to do that. One is, shoot from behind always. The third is just, somehow never avoid showing the face, from what you're doing close up or hands only or whatnot. And the third was a mask. So, for me, like I wanted to create a scary monster, and I wanted, to have a mask. I mean, like, let's like add to this like pantheon of like great masks out there. And, like, hockey masks aren't our goalie hockey masks are actually kind of creepy, and so when you like take it, lean into that and take it to the extreme, you get a great horror mask, right? And like, well, a dead William Shatner is kind of creepy, so
Yeah.
like, it's just, you don't have to take something totally crazy and monstrous. I mean, Santa is kind of creepy already. Just any mall Santa is already kind of creepy, or just the idea of Santa sneaking into your house and eating your food and being in your, having kids sit on their lap and all this stuff. It is already a little like that. So I just think like taking that to the extreme, and we just got like a regular Santa mask that already looked, kind of creepy, but it was just supposed to not be. And then my hair and makeup team and like really went in on the mask, just like degrading it with alcohol, like laying real hair on it, and we blacking out the eyes and everything like that. Just like, made it a lot more creepy than it was. So yeah, just a store-bought Santa mask that we totally enhanced.
It's amazing what a prop team can do, I tell
Oh
you.
yeah, it looks completely different. You wouldn't even know it's the same one. So yeah.
Yeah, because that thing, if I saw that thing in the mall, I'd be shopping elsewhere.
Oh, people didn't even like seeing it on set. Like people like did not
Where
want
is it now? It's not near you, is it? I don't want to see it up
So I
here.
wore it for all the premieres and everything, and screenings and festivals. And when I would go to the Q&A with it on.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
The first question or two was pretty uncomfortable, and then I gave it to my producing partner at the last one. After the last one, he has it. He has like an animatronic at his house, an animatronic bartender behind his bar.
Oh, those are awesome.
And
I want
he
one.
put it on that for the holiday season. It's
Oh my God. Imagine that thing moving on its
Oh my
own.
God.
yeah, it
Oh.
does. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
awesome.
creepy. At
Yeah.
least it's
I
giving
love
you
it.
drinks though, because I think that might you might need some if you see that thing moving around.
Yeah, he also has the urn from Float on his fireplace. So
Oh,
you know,
nice. He's got like the whole
it's kind
like
of a
Zac
tradition of
Locke
doing
museum
something.
there.
Yeah.
Very nice. So Zach, I gotta ask you. I mean, Brian and I are obviously both huge fans of Christmas horror films, which I think you are too. So, what are your particular favorite Christmas horror films?
Christmas horror. I gotta say Gremlins for that one.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
It's a great one. Scared the pants off of me when I was a kid. Now I just love it, you know. Super fun. And then I know it's not a horror movie per se. As you probably know, I gain a lot of my kind of inspiration outside of horror too. And I think Home Alone really made an impression on me when I was a kid. That old man scared the bejesus out of
yeah.
me
He is
um,
scary. Yeah.
He
in the
is.
church and everything. So you know, I think that's a great great one.
Well, what
Uh,
there was a movie. What was the one that was like Home Alone? It was a horror movie. Joe Bob showed it. It was like a horror movie version of Home Alone, essentially.
oh
Anyway,
yeah.
but it was before Home Alone, I think.
I mean, it's a
Oh
horror
really?
concept, right? It's like you're stuck in a house by yourself, and
Yeah,
two people are trying
Oh,
to
was
get
it? It was
in.
that French movie.
yeah.
I
The
think it was
fr
French. Yeah, I don't remember
Okay.
the name of it though.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
about a
really
kid.
good.
Yeah, where it's kind of like Home Alone-ish, where but he's like, I think it's more of a more open set piece than just the house effort. But in the end, it becomes like you're like, wow, this is essentially the plot to Home Alone at some level,
Yeah.
but without the family warmth to it,
It
which
was definitely hard. It was. I
yeah,
guess it was like horror thriller. I mean thriller, I guess, but more
yeah,
thriller.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Krampus is a lot of fun. I tried to
Oh yeah.
avoid kind of you're speaking of stuff to avoid, like I tried to avoid really any of those kind of I have one little reference to it in the movie, but that's a great more recent one. Of like just really scary, like really scary. So yeah, I think those are I like to go a little out of the box for that, but those are mine.
Are there any other holidays that need more horror films? I know we just had Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
which was cool to see because we didn't have enough
yeah.
Thanksgiving horror films. Is there any other ones that
Yeah,
you?
I mean, I know people have been trying to crack it for a while, and I've read a bunch of scripts that try to get there, but we need a Hanukkah horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I started to say there's the one and that's it. And it was okay, but
Mm.
like we need like a good I mean like I actually like I always had like this vision with it. I'll have to tell you later off the air at some point. Like I had this just one vision for a holiday for a Hanukkah horror movie that I just thought if someone could pull it off it would be cool, but it's pretty like a lot of
Yeah,
stuff going on. I
I've read a
haven't
lot of takes
formulated
of
it.
it. As a producer, I've read a lot of takes of it for sure.
Yeah.
They're out there. Those
Yeah.
the takes are out there. The scripts are out there. It's just it's never happened.
And it's hard because like like what if you search a holiday horror film, you literally can find like one for everything. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, "Oh, what about like Arbor Day?" And I'm like, "Nope, there's an Arbor Day horror
Yeah.
film."
So I
Yeah.
worked on a few of those Blumhouse Hulu horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
One a month. I think it was called Into the Dark.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
like
Which I
that
like
series.
the Thanksgiving one of that.
Oh yeah,
The
that
Into
one's
the
really
Dark.
we
That
did
was
that one. Yeah.
yeah, we did. That was a good one.
Which one? Oh, the Pilgrim one.
Pilgrim one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
Oh,
like
was
that
on
one
year
too.
2.
And the oh no, that was you're
I
right.
did the
That
one
was
on year 1. So I worked on I believe it was called Flesh and Blood with Patrick Lussier. So that was the first year
what
Thanksgiving one.
was
So
the
yeah,
one with
Pilgrim one
Dermot
looked scary.
Mulroney? Was that one
Yeah,
Into the Dark also?
that's the one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that
Dermot
one.
Mulroney.
That was the one with
Yeah.
the Tim and I had fun with doing that one. Yeah, I think we've done all of them on
Yeah.
think we've done every
So,
Thanksgiving
and we
one that
worked
could
on
be.
a Mother's Day one too. But yeah, so that's yeah, there's holiday and horror for some reason. Why do you think holiday and horror goes so well together, guys?
Well,
Question for you.
I mean, honestly, I think because holidays could be so polarizing that depending on the kind of person you are, like some people love holidays and they can't get enough of it and it pisses everybody else off. And then there's other people that just don't like holidays and you know, it's fun to find out why they don't like them and like what's the reason behind. So I think honestly, and I think it's like anything where, you can make a horror movie about anything because something about everything is going to scare somebody, it's like so I think it's kind of like a kind of low hanging fruit at some level, but
Mhm.
doesn't mean but I can't get enough of it at the same time, it's like.
Well, I think it also it's a easy way to get a lot of people together in one location. From a writing standpoint, I would think that it's an easy way to get a lot of people together on a singular purpose in one location so that you can start picking them off one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I definitely I hope you can find a way you get that magical Hanukkah formula in there though to get one
Oh
of
no,
those.
I don't think it'll be me, but I'll watch it. I'll buy a ticket.
But I mean, I guess all that originally kind of goes back to Halloween. Like somebody made
Yeah.
John Carpenter makes a Halloween
True.
movie, and then all of a sudden everybody's trying to copy, but they can't just copy Halloween over and over. So they start
Right.
Friday the 13th and New Year's Evil, and so then it just like
and Terror Train
from
was
there.
technically on New Year's Eve, right? I think they
Mhm.
did. Was that new? Yeah.
Think
So I mean,
so.
like especially in the '80s. Oh my God, did they if there was a holiday, they tried to grab it fast.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, My Bloody Valentine's still one of my favorite all
Right.
time, just horror movies in general, not even holiday ones. Just
Right, and Black Christmas too, right around the same
oh
time.
yeah,
Halloween
Black
and
Christmas
everything,
I
so
love. Yeah, I mean Krampus, like you mentioned earlier, I loved. So yeah.
so yeah, it's good. I think it's fun to mess with the sacrosanct too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not been a lot of Easter. I have seen some, but there's not been a
Yeah.
lot of Easter ones. So I think that one gets a little too.
Because
I
you
don't
know
know,
why?
sometimes-
Everyone goes to just the Easter Bunny doing so.
Easter
Like no
Bunny's
one has
creepy.
gone a different way from Easter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Easter
That's the
Bunny is
problem. They
creepy
take
though.
yeah, that needs a revisit. Someone needs to make a good Easter horror film because I really don't think they do it. They just take an Easter Bunny and make them go crazy or something. I don't know. They do something with the eggs only or something. I don't know. Killer eggs. Oh, then it'd be like too much like critters, I guess. I don't know. See, it's tricky. It's hard to do sometimes.
It is.
But so another thing we always like to we probably asked you this about Float too, but we always love to hear like tales from the set and so if you have any cool stories or any challenging things that you made it happen, like any cool stories from there?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the snow. So, we were hoping there would be snow and kind of tracking it and everything. We shot the first 3 days, all of the non-cabin stuff. And on day 3, when we were kind of halfway through our nighttime shoot at the church, we started getting reports that the snow was starting to fall pretty hard. By the time we were done, we were stuck in St. Helens. We could not, all the roads were closed. And we had to spend the night in like these roadside motels. The church invited us to spend the night there, but we found these roadside motels. We were able to spend the night there. All the cast and crew, we lost a whole day and a half of the shoot, actually waiting out the snow because the snowstorm was so ginormous. It closed all the freeways, everything.
So you asked for the snow and look, you got
it,
more
but
than you
then
could handle.
we finally got up to the cabin and it was beautiful. There was snow everywhere. It was still snowing, and we were able to do that. But yeah, I don't I shot my first feature in 4 feet of water, and I shot this one in 4 feet of snow, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I wouldn't recommend it. It's the weather can be tough, and like 6 degrees, and it's cold out there. Some of the actors were in their pajamas, so we just were it's very difficult. You can only shoot for very, very quickly, and that's not always ideal for filmmaking and taking your time, but also you get this amazing production design of this whole snowy forest and mountain and snow set cabin, which really added to the mood. I think there's a line in there where she turns and says like, "Oh wow, snow's really coming down out right now." Like that was a written line in the script, and at the day we were shooting that, the snow was really coming down out the window. So it was like definitely had a lot of cooperation there, and I think really sets the scene for a nice snowy Christmas horror.
Nice. When that next movie you'll have to do just that, to shoot it in the middle of a tornado. I think that's
My next movie I already shot, and we shot it in the desert in Joshua Tree in the middle of the summer.
Oh, nice.
And
I was actually going to say you need to do sand next.
Yeah,
we
that's
did.
right, yeah.
It was 106 degrees instead of 6 degrees.
Did you secretly do the new Star Wars movie? Is that what it is? You're on Tatooine? You
Yeah,
can tell us.
But I think I'm done with extremes. I kept telling people on the set of this last movie that the next movie I do is going to be people talking in rooms.
There you go.
There you go. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Well, actually, kind of, Tim, your next question, he kind of teased a little bit, right?
Yeah. So Zach, is there we're going to close with you telling us, tell our listeners where to check out the Santa Isn't Real. But before we do that, are there any projects that you've done or are upcoming that you can talk about?
Yeah, well, I just finished shooting my third feature. It's called Decibel, and it is a thriller with some horror and sci-fi elements to it, and it is about music and artificial intelligence.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and so there's actually kind of a musical too, a little bit.
Nice.
So it's an interesting one. And then, if people want the sequel to Santa Isn't Real, they can rent or buy the movie on all major platforms: iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, Google Play, and any sort of video on demand that you have. If enough people like this one, we already have the sequel in mind. So
Oh, nice.
Santa is real. So
I like
the
it.
people want it, we'll make it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Too Santa, too real, right? You'll make that.
I love it.
Actually, make your logo like a Santa Claus going like this with the number 2, like from Ghostbusters. I think that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we're just gonna cross out the N''T from this poster. We don't have to make a new poster.
Oh,
there you go.
actually, that should be the trailer. Like, have it say that at the end, just like a knife go like,
There
and
you
cut
go.
the
I like that.
apostrophe off.
I like that. Yeah.
That
There you
guy,
go.
I just come up with crazy ideas. I know, but yeah, no. So, if you want to quickly also let our listener know any of your socials, they can follow along with your projects.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm Zac Instagram, ZAC Instagram, so that's pretty easy. But I think the best one to follow is probably Rotting Press.
Okay.
Which is the production company that made this. So Rotting Press, at Rotting Press, ROTTINGPRESS. And then XYZ Films, who released this, is also a good one to follow. They're the probably two that are posting the most about the movie and where to get it and things that are happening with it. So those are the socials right there.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, thank you again for coming on. Always a dream. I'm serious. We should do this like a yearly tradition.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
I'm down.
So you just say the word, even if it doesn't go through the. I know it's easier sometimes. They were able to reach out to us. But if you just anytime and through the year too, you need anything. You need us to help promote something. Just say the word.
I appreciate that, guys, and I'm just glad you guys didn't give me a homework assignment this time. So.
Oh, did we give you something last time? What did we do last time?
Yeah, the Black Christmas of it all.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No more homework assignments this time, unless you come up with a good Hanukkah movie you want to chat about. But that's about it.
No, it was a pleasure to talk to y'all for sure. Thanks, Tim and Brian. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Zach. All right, Brian. So that was even better than our first interview. I think that was a great one, and I'm eager to
we
talk.
Didn't know him when we talked about Float. It was all new.
Yeah, it was all new. Now we know him, and we kind of had some. I guess we could have a little bit more fun with the questions and things. And I'm eager to talk about the movie because it was a very interesting take, as we alluded to in the interview, on Christmas horror that I don't think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, and we'll try and stay away from spoilers because this movie is definitely best going into without, getting anything spoiled for you because there's a lot of cool little twists and stuff in there. But you may want to, if you don't want any spoilers, spoilers may leak out in this just out of accident. So, may want to watch it first.
Yeah.
And then come back and listen to the episode. But
we'll try.
We actually did a pretty good job in all honesty, in the interview, keeping it spoiler free. So
yeah, I'm gonna try. I'll try our best to not do any major spoilers. And if we do, we'll try to warn you ahead of time. But this one was, of course, directed by Zac Locke, starring Dana Milliken as the Doctor, Kayla Coleman as Nikki, Scarlett Sperduto as Jess, Michelle Damas as Mom, Sissy Lee as MJ, David Mitchum Brown as Reverend, and Trey Anderson as Nathan. After suffering a brutal attack on Christmas Eve, a young woman, Nikki, struggles to convince her friends that the assailant was old Kris Kringle. When Santa returns to terrorize the group, Nikki and her friends must fight to stay alive. So, we got the screener of this one, knowing Zach was going to come on. It's a short film at about 76 minutes, I think. And I was looking forward to it because I'm always up for some Christmas horror. And I thought this one did a really good job of, number one, it's got a very creepy Santa. One of the creepiest I've seen in a while. Like, I thought the mask was really, really well done. And the
like I go back to like the Larry Drake creepy Santa from Tales from the Crypt. Remember that one?
Yeah,
yeah. But it's like this is like even creepier. This one there's like a mask involved in it.
Yeah, and I would say don't be put off by the cover. Like the Santa on the cover is not as creepy as it is in real life, like or quote unquote in the real life. In the movie, it's even creepier than what it looks like on the cover. So I thought it was excellent. We talked a little bit about the mask in the interview. But I thought this one was a really interesting take on Christmas horror. It did not go in the direction I thought it would. I thought it was going to be much more, again, without giving any spoilers away, I thought it was going to be a much more traditional Killer Santa type movie, but there's a lot more depth to it than that going on. And I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and it goes into what, and you heard us mention it in the interview. It goes, and he wanted to do this. He kind of went into a lot of different lore of Santa Claus and other like kind of Christmas lore, which was pretty cool. Because it's like anytime you go through something that's like so like known like universally, like I'm Jewish and I know everything about Santa.
Yeah.
It's like it's like interesting to get the lore, and I like that like he had like moments of literally discussions of the said lore in as part of the plot, which was really done. He really wove a good tale in there.
Yeah, and the like we said. Like we mentioned in the interview, the cast is terrific.
Yeah, a couple of them are from Float, too, which Kaya Coleman and Scarlett Sperduto were both really good standouts in Float also. So it's kind of great to see them back, and it was like they just have you could tell there was a good rapport. So. Yeah,
absolutely. And I thought again, another thing we kind of alluded to in the interview, I thought it was really well shot. Like I really like, for some reason, I don't know why, maybe it was the wood paneling or something, but I really like that interior of the cabin. Like, there's something appealing about, I don't know if it was like the Christmas lights mixed with the wood paneling or something. I don't know. It just felt very warm and cozy, and I was really like taken aback by it. I really liked it.
Yeah, you kind of got that like feel of like, oh, this would be a fun place to spend Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So that was cool. I loved, again, like we said, Kaya Coleman is awesome in this. Super talented. I thought she really had to carry this movie because she's definitely the focal point of this entire movie.
Yeah, and she has a lot of without again giving a spoiler. She has a lot of heavy lifting and different in her personality and her character that she has to portray. And I was gonna say in her portrayal, and I changed it to a mix of hybrid of one kind of weird sentence. But in the way she had to portray it, she did have a lot of heavy lifting. So I think she did a great job at that.
Yeah, I'm struggling here to talk about this movie without spoiling.
It's hard because to really give into it. I mean, and we did mention a lot of it in the interview, so it's kind of hard to really elaborate more on it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it just I always find it fascinating the way and it's becoming a signature of Zach's films, how he takes like a kind of a certain scenario that we've all kind of been familiar with at a given time, like who hasn't maybe not per se gone floating on a river, but have gone out camping, remote cabin kind of thing, and who hasn't like gone on a Christmas kind of like vacation and stuff and discuss Santa lore, and Christmas lore and like all this kind of stuff. So he takes like real situation and it always adds this like signature twist to it, which I like.
Yeah, and I think you guys are going to really like the characters in this one because there's the movie's central focus is more around the characters than the villain, I will say. And
yes,
so you have to like these characters because if you didn't care for these characters, there's nothing left in this. This movie would fall apart. So I love the idea that you are kind of experiencing this isolated cabin with these characters, and there's a lot of dialogue and that kind of thing that really connects you to this group and this group dynamic. And I like that.
And you made an interesting point. It's a very dialogue heavy, this film.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the right cast for that and you don't have the right dialogue, that could fall. But Zach does a good job. I mean, he's got the cast that can pull this off, and he did a great job writing some good dialogue for this.
Yeah, and when we say dialogue heavy, that's
bored.
not a negative.
Right, you're never bored.
Yeah.
You're actually interested in the conversation, and like Tim said, you got this feeling you're kind of in there with them, and even the shots he uses, you kind of feel like you're sitting right there in the little circle they're in when they're talking about stuff, and you feel like you almost feel like you should answer.
Yeah.
You should like participate at points.
Yeah. So I like that piece of it. I think you guys are going to really like the characters. And again, I can't give any spoilers away, but I think there's some aspects of this movie I just haven't seen done in a holiday film that I thought were just super interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to really leave it at that.
Yeah.
I apologize. It would detract from your viewing,
especially since we're
things.
promoting this movie. It just came out, and we want you to go see it because, like I said, it's on Vudu. It's on all the major,
Yeah, I think it's on every.
Major platform. So I definitely don't want to give away another Christmas horror movie that you guys. I know you guys out there listening are always in the market for holiday horror, so I certainly wouldn't want to ruin one like this that has so many layers to it. So go check that one out. Help Zach and his films because he's a great guy, and I love what he's doing, and I'm really excited about his next project, which he talked about. In the interview.
Which he talked about in there. That sounds like good. So we'll definitely arrange for him to come back on at that. I mean, I have a feeling he's going to be one of these guests that we're just always going to have every time he's got a movie, and I'm all there for it because he's such a good guy to talk to, and he really loves his craft. You can tell.
Yeah.
He's really into it, and he doesn't just like go out there and make something for the hell of it. They're like he loves his projects, and you can tell he's like he puts all that he has into it. And remember, this is only his second film he's written and directed.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on the other aspects of films, and he's had his name on some big
films
that you've heard of. If you go look it up his IMDb and look at what he's done in producing and other aspects, he's done a lot. Like there's a lot he's done. So it's like the fact that he's getting to write and direct his own stuff, like you can't help but like just wish him the best constantly and like want to support him.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brian, what did we have for our beer pairing for Santa Isn't Real?
So I mean, of course, I had to go with a Santa themed beer, and I have found one called Drunken Santa. And I'm going to butcher this brewery. I think it's like Rar and Sons. It's RATHR and Sons. And of course, it's probably like Rare.
Yeah.
If we go back to the sherbet discussion, which now is going to get mentioned in every episode. I'm sorry. You're going to have to deal with it. Anyway, it's out of Fort Worth, Texas. This is a 9% beer here. I just listen to this, Tim. Tell me you can't like just taste this by the description. Basically, it's an English dark ale aged in a rum barrel with honey and spices, and it's got flavors of clove, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg.
That sounds good.
I know. I love a good English dark ale.
I was getting hung up on Fort Worth because all I can think of is, does Fort Worth ever cross your mind? Little George Strait there for you. I love George Strait. And every time I see Fort Worth, all I think is George Strait. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I can listen. We will never say that we're a podcast that's not go off on tangents.
I'm like a dog with a squirrel. Like I'm just distracted. I see Fort Worth in all caps in the rundown. I'm like, oh, George Strait.
Yeah, I know. I kind of dangled that carrot for you right there. But yeah. So this beer sounds like another winner. I tell you, there's something about I mean we're big beer people, as you know. We're big IPA people. But I'll tell you, there's nothing like in like a nice winter heavy beer. Sometimes just sip either by a fireplace or around with like family and just hanging out.
I need to get some because I haven't bought any holiday beers this year yet.
Yeah, I still haven't. Out here I cannot find Mad Elf because it's, Trogs is a East Coast brewery.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to find out here. I mean, I know a place I can order it from, but I mean, it'd be like ridiculous expensive. I don't know if I'll get here on time, but I got to keep checking. Like, I haven't checked Bevmo. I've checked Total Wine,
I almost picked up
one out here is amazing.
I mean, I always picked up the Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale because that was one of the first holiday beers I ever had. But
that one's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's not like I kind of want something better. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know. I hear you. That's like more of that. It's like a really above average house beer, those Sierra Nevadas.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like a good like thick like like the Fireside Chat. Like
yeah, those are nice.
Like
yeah.
Those are winter warmers, they call them too. But there's like the particular one I think is named Fireside Chat. I like winter warmers. There's one like Mother's Milk. I think is a good thick winter beer like that. Like it's just there's something about it where you can like sip, and I know some people are like, oh, that's not beer. It might taste like it, but it's beer. I like it. It's like around the time of year that there's certain kind of
like
beers.
The kind of beer like you need a knife and fork. It's like,
like you want to like here, have a slice of beer. Yeah, like it's like that exactly. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
It's like that's what I like. It's like a nice good flavor. But so I got a great fan topic food, Tim. Again, I think that you'll really like.
Okay.
And I know we've been raving about this new kind of format that we do. And I think it's way easier than I thought because literally you just base it off the movie we're talking about, and it's really easy to come up with questions.
Yeah.
So having this one, so in the spirit of this film, Tim, what would be some lore? And I know you're a big lore guy.
Lore.
You love that lore podcast.
Yeah,
you love
like
history.
lore, yeah.
You love all that stuff. So what would be one or two lores that you really wish were real?
Okay. This is going to sound so stupid. I really wish mermaids were real. I love the concept of mermaids. I like the whole thing.
We can go to Wiki Waki in Florida, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Wiki
Waki. Yeah, Springs.
Waki Wiki.
That documentary was crazy. That mermaid documentary. Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You guys got to check out on Netflix. There's a mermaid documentary. And I can't remember the name of it, but it's about people that like live the whole mermaid lifestyle. And I like ate that documentary.
Yeah, that was crazy.
No, I love the whole. Actually, I would say, and not even just mermaids, any kind of sea serpent, like Loch Ness Monster, like I'm totally into that. Like I totally love any kind of like sea creature thing. Like I wish that lore was real. I wish Loch Ness Monster was 100% real. I wish not only that it was 100% real, but that it was a plesiosaur. Like it's got to be a plesiosaur.
Yeah, I am stunned you didn't mention another in particular thing that you didn't mention,
like a Sasquatch.
Yes, but I think it's because you believe it's 100% real already.
No, I actually don't believe. I actually don't believe in Sasquatch, but I wish it. But I wish I did. I wish it was real. That would be cool. I would love for all these like creatures to be real. I think that would be like make the world much more magical. But I was trying to think of something that was more along the lines of this movie. And I was thinking, like leprechauns, but I don't care about leprechauns.
Well, it's hard for this movie, right?
Yeah.
Like if you go to the religious aspect, because the whole point of religion is to believe. It's belief, it's faith. So it's kind of hard to then say, well, I wish that was real, because if you're truly religious and you follow that in there, you're almost like meant to believe it. You're meant to have that faith.
Right.
So I was trying to stay away from that myself. And I'm kind of like more, kind of like on your length, like basically any of these cryptozoological creature things, like Loch Ness would be really cool if it really existed, or those things, and especially the extended lore where there's these underwater passages that lead to something else, or Atlantis,
any of that,
stuff like that, all those kind of things, like basically anything that the best fantasy stories are made from, and it's of course I wish Star Wars characters were real, stuff like that, if that counts as lore, per se. But I think about what's cool about if you think about lore in general, it's a lot of it is kind of always have an element of believability to it. It has to be, even if it's a minuscule, there's a slight believability of it, because if you have to open that window, or it's probably, or people just dismiss it,
Yeah.
So there's got to be something.
I've always said I'm like Fox Mulder. I want to believe. I'm super, super skeptical in real life. I'm just super skeptical about everything. But despite that, I still watch all the ghost shows. I still listen to the bulk of the podcasts I listen to are all like cryptozoology and legends and ghost stories and like all that. That's all I listen to. Like I listen to all that stuff. So it's like, it's weird because in my mind, I'm like super scientific, super skeptical, but I still love all this stuff. So there's this big yearning to want it to be real. Even though my logical brain says, I don't think that's real. So,
but I think that explains lore,
yeah,
properly in a way, I mean, that explains you like, like most people, like the whole reason it's lore and not considered necessarily 100% fact is because of that. There's a lot, and over time it gets twisted, and different cultures variances on it, to change it. So it's like, like just like in this movie alone, they talk about Santa Claus and how every culture has its own belief of Santa Claus, and how some Santa Clauses are evil in cultures, and some Santa Claus is good and he's got an evil helper, So it's like, that's what's so fascinating to me about lore in general, is that like based on who you talk to and which culture you come from and which story you heard as a child, that's your lore, So lore is can be a very vast topic.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you on the crypt. I mean, I wish I had a more specific answer, but to me, it's so like there's so many. It's like it's hard for me to narrow it down. But I like cryptozoological creatures, I think, are be like the number one thing. Like, I'd love to see like how cool would it be literally to like someone to finally like prove like, okay, yes, there is a Loch Ness monster, and here's when he comes, and you can go see him.
Yeah.
It's like at this date you can go see him, and everyone goes to like, like instead of like the Coachella, they have like Loch Ness Fest, where he pops out for that 1/2 hour.
Oh man, I love Loch, because that was the first cryptid I ever knew about, probably, because I remember I used to check this book out at the library in elementary school. And I used to, and I know I remember this because I checked this book out so many times, and it was a Loch Ness Monster book, and it had diagrams of the flippers, and it had the pictures, it had the surgeon's photo, it had the flipper photo, it had the head photo from underwater that they took that time. It had all these, and like I was 1,000% convinced the Loch Ness Monster was absolutely real, and that it was a dinosaur. And so I just remember being fascinated. I would just check this book out over and over and over. So that's always been, no question, that's always been my favorite cryptid. And then from there, of course, I got into Bigfoot and Chupacabra later on, and Jersey Devil and Mothman. And I love all that stuff. I still want to go to Point Pleasant and see the Mothman Museum. I still want to do that. Me and Kevin almost did that. We almost did that on one of our coaster trips. We almost took a detour. But I think we figured out that by the time we got there, the museum would be closed, so we didn't do it. But I at least want to go get a picture in front of the Mothman statue. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be neat. Yeah, and you know what it is? It's just like lore is so cool because like literally, again, it's like it's even location is like has its own thing to it, and it's like like people always have like all kind of stories from like local legends and stuff, that like there's like imagine trying to literally like research or visit all these places. Like that's impossible.
You probably couldn't do all the lore in your own town. I mean Wilmington is so full. There's whole books about Wilmington ghosts, and that
ship alone. The battleship had a whole bunch of stuff they were talking.
Oh yeah, there's so many. I mean, and Wilmington's such an old town that of course there's tons of ghost stories and weird stories and all kinds of that stuff. Like I probably don't even know half of them, and I've lived here all my life, so yeah, it's
remember one of our first episodes where we did like the real local scares and
stuff? That was fun.
It was like our first like kind of off-topic non-movie episode back in like it was like at least our like first, and within our first like 5 or 6 episodes we decided to do like a cool little bonus one like that.
Yeah, I'm currently doing a project where I don't know if you guys care about this, but I'm doing a project where I realized that I don't have a backup of every episode. Like a personal backup. Our hosting provider does, and as long as we keep paying them, they'll keep having them. But I thought, you know what, it'd be nice to have a true backup, personal backup of every episode we've ever done. So what I've been doing is for every episode that I did not have a backup, I've been going to Libsyn and downloading it and backing it up to the cloud in our own, so that if something ever happened and we or Libsyn went under or something, our hosting provider went under, we would have every episode of Civil War that we could restore.
You know what I want to do is I want to do what Costa Radio is doing, where they're deciding to do, where they don't like. Well, why not steal one more thing from them, right? But I want to like dump it into like an AI thing, and it like really spits out like a database of all the things, like where we can have like a little like a spreadsheet, like like, okay, this was mentioned in this episode, in this episode, in this episode, kind of thing, and like, oh, the beer pairing for episode like 340 was this, like
that would be
like,
cool.
I want to be able to find a way to do that at some point.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I mean, well, when we're on a break, usually Tim and I come up with like we're on a break for like between seasons, but really our brains don't turn off the podcast ever, so we're always kind of like like if you even see some of the ideas that we've talked about like for years now that we just never put in, and we just like crazy stuff that we've come up with and stuff that we just never implemented just due to time or due to other reasons.
I do want to say something before I forget. So we did have some entries for the Halloween.
Oh, right.
For the horror movie challenge, and I promised that I would get some stuff out of the prize closet for you guys, which will.
That's why I all pestered you guys for your addresses. By the way, I wasn't being creepy.
Yeah. So
really, we're getting
those will be sent out. To be perfectly honest, it's probably going to be after the holidays because the post office is freaking crazy right now. But and I was waiting on some stuff that I ordered to throw in the packs for you guys. So that was part of the delay there. So look for those sometime in January. It'll probably be after the holidays, to be quite honest, because it's just
that'd be like a bonus holiday.
Yeah, but I haven't forgotten about it. I certainly haven't forgotten about it. I've got all the addresses. I've got the stuff that I'm going to send out, and I've got some cool posters. I've got some other little surprises that I won't give away. So look forward to those sometime after the holidays.
Yeah, and we just wanted to send something to everybody that participated and been like loyal listeners to us and have always like contributed and helped us out with things, and just because it's it's always it does mean a lot. We know a handful of listeners that we have, and people that have interacted with us and with the challenge and stuff like that, and we know there's probably other ones, and God knows how many in Croatia, of course, but to get us up to that 131, but it means a lot to us, every listener counts, we take anything you guys interact with us, we take, as like as something special, we listen, we want to hear, we love to interact, and it's like, so it's great that we actually had like new people do the horror challenge this year, like that, like blew us away. I was like, and of course a lot of that goes to Jeff Whitmire really drumming up the excitement for it. He did a good job. And I think I see a lot of people like midway through find out about it and then like are all excited for the following year, so it's like, and we that's like one of my favorite things is like plotting that challenge, out. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it like pretty much all year through, like, oh, that's a good one, like for the challenge, and stuff like that. And we have like teases and jokes.
Definitely for next season. I think we've done if there's one thing I'm the most proud of for the podcast is the amount of interviews we've had. Like I am just continuously blown away by the amount of interviews we've had. So I want to keep that up, but I also I've had so much fun when we've done collaborations with other podcasts, like when we were on Kim and Ked, and we've done the round tables, and I really hope in the new season that we could do more like podcast collaborations. I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah, well, we already have 2 lined up, basically 2 in the works that we've been talking with. We're just trying to set that up. It's hard around this time of year to do that.
But that's definitely coming.
But yes, I'd love to do that with other podcasts and other guests, and the round tables for sure. I think everyone likes those roundtables. I think what we have to bring back is hopefully we'll cut it to a lot shorter. I mean, it was 4 hours, but we got to do our chainsaw preview show again.
Yeah.
That was really fun. I just can't believe how long that went. Oh my god.
that was our longest episode ever. Period.
It wasn't even close to. It was like so much, but it was fun though. It was great. We had like you, me, Ken, Cone, Emily, Jeff, and it was it was just for a fun event, it's like kind of thing. Like, especially this year's chainsaw. Like, I got to make sure we like maybe we'll do like a live some kind of thing. Like that's one of the things I want for next season. Like I need to get. So I already know. Like I'm pretty much now like starting my pre-look for a new computer, because I've had this for about 4 years now. It's starting to get there. I want to get one that does really good video editing capabilities and a good camera, so I don't have to keep attaching my other webcam that I bought to put on top of there. So I want to be able to do live show, a live show.
That would be fun. Yeah, a live show.
You know, like Kim and Ket do for their watch parties. I want to do stuff like that. You know,
that would be fun. Yeah. Yeah, that's
but you're right though. I think we definitely need to. I would love to do more roundtables. You know, of course with our core group, but also get some new people in there sometimes. You know, to do more big events and do that. I mean, of course, my dream would be eventually at some point down the road, if we have enough, God willing, I have enough listeners somehow to do a meetup somewhere, you know, or something like that. That would be kind of cool.
That would be super cool. Meet up at a horror con with everybody. That would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be
definitely not New Jersey horror con.
That we'll figure out a different.
That time. We're gonna keep quiet on that, but they're not. They're on our list.
They're on the naughty list.
Not a good list. They're on a naughty list right now. We'll go into that later because it hasn't been resolved yet, the issue. But we'll go into that at a future date. Yeah. But well, you know what? One place would be cool to do that Universal year-round horror thing they're working on in Vegas.
Oh my god, that would be so much fun. Yeah.
Right? I mean, that would be cool. I know, now that I'm living on the West Coast, when that thing opens, I am planning a trip to Vegas as soon as possible after that thing opens. I want to go there. Because, I mean, just alone, their escape rooms, the horror escape rooms that they have now. I'm going again in the summer, again with my group of friends who went to last time. And I thought I, forced them into those Blair Witch, the Blair Witch Saw ones, but they loved it so much. And now they saw they're doing an It one, and that was, the first thing they said. They're like, oh, my God, we got to do this on our next Vegas trip. So
yeah, those sound fun. Those would be fun.
Oh, Tim, you would love it because it literally is like a haunt and an escape room in one. It's that cool.
Yeah.
So,
all right, guys. Well, we will see you back here next week with another holiday horror movie.
Yes, and a very big, cool interview.
Yes, very cool interview
scheduled, which will be awesome. And I think it's a perfect way to end season. What is this, 7?
Season 7, yeah, season 7. And of course, we're gonna.
Wow, who'd have thought?
I know. I mean, God, who would have thought 300 episodes? But. We are going.
Oh, that's right. We're closing on that. Next season, we'll have our 300th episode, which we're going to start to plan. We're going to have. Well, I want to do something really big for that one. We need some really big things.
We got to definitely go all out for that one. And we will be taking our typical holiday break after next episode. So
somehow we got to fit the dismemberment in though, because that always drops in the middle of our break.
Yeah, we'll still do the dismemberment. We'll definitely.
Yeah, we'll still get that out for you. But I'm wondering if we try and record it maybe I don't know, maybe over the weekend if there's enough info to kind of get that out of the way so it's there.
Yeah, but
and we can just drop it. But...
Yeah, so be on the lookout. It's not like it'll be completely dead because we will have that coming out for January. But yeah, we're gonna take a little bit of a break, kind of recap, get some fresh ideas for the new season, come back swinging, and it'll be a lot of fun. So, again, we'll wish you guys a happy holiday on next episode. But until then, stay away from. I was gonna say stay away from Krampus. I was like, that doesn't make.
Well, you should stay away from him.
Stay away from him. But it doesn't make any sense in the context of this movie. Stay away from Santa Claus. Here you go.
Well, now they're gonna think we're anti-Christmas. Tim, what are you trying to do to us?
I don't know.
Tim's getting us canceled for the holidays.
I don't know. I'm still drinking Christmas punch. It must be affecting.
Yeah, I know. I know. I just have my scotch. That's why you kept hearing the little clinking of my.
I'm clinking.
Cubes.
I'm not editing it out. That's live.
No, the clink is important.
Yeah,
we need the clink.
That's live Christmas punch there. So
yes, and live scotch. I'm having that Bunnahabhain 12-year. Remember the stuff that
Ken that was awesome. Yeah,
I know. That's my favorite thing. I had to buy some. I didn't have it. I left mine in New York when I moved here, so I went a couple weeks ago when I was out there. I'm like, you know what? I gotta buy this again. I need one here. So and I ordered a new thing of whiskey cubes because God knows where that is in storage. But but yeah, that is a good. Bunnahabhain is one of the best scotches ever, and it's affordable for what you get out of it. It really is. It's I think this one was it's $69, but it's a 12-year single malt, but it tastes like a blend because it's very smooth. So, but it's a true single malt that's really good. So I highly recommend that one. And no, they're not sponsoring us either. Poor Kim and Ket just can't get Screwball peanut butter whiskey. I haven't even tried that yet.
Oh my God!
But I figure I want to chill that first. I have the peanut butter whiskey I've tried, not the peanut butter whiskey eggnog.
Oh,
I
gotta chill that.
I have that bottle. I need to chill it though before I try that.
All right. Well, guys, I'll come back. I'll come up with a better sign off
Yeah.
next episode.
Yeah, that's why I had to keep talking because I'm like, I can't let Tim end.
Yeah, that was a terrible sign off. So, I'll come up with a better one next time. How about that?
Yes. So just remember, stay real, just like Santa, or isn't he real?
See, Brian's good. He's the idea guy. He comes up with the good outros. Later, guys.
See ya.